Checking sound. Hello. We're just checking sound right now. Welcome. Hi everyone. How's everyone feeling on this full moon? Are we feeling good? I'm about to light up my Palo Santo joint here. How's everyone doing? Welcome to this full moon yin yoga practice, and we're going to be kind of discussing a little bit of the energy of this moon before we dive into practice. With this Scorpio full moon, Scorpio is a sign that is connected to water, and it's so fortunate that I'm able to do this practice outside on this porch. My boyfriend Jonathan and I ended up coming up to Cocoa Beach and renting out this beautiful space that's on the water, like just beyond the other side of this camera is the water. Maybe I can twirl this around real quick. I don't know how much you're gonna see, but this is my view on the other side. It's so gorgeous out here. And to be able to be here outside once again in this full moon energy just makes my heart so full, because as some of you know, we typically do this practice outside at the Hilton, and just being outside and just like basking under the energy is just so absolutely powerful. So to be here, I'm so grateful. And I welcome you to this practice. And there's a lot going on with this full moon. I don't know if any of you are feeling it. I see some, yes, it is a beautiful view. I see some people with the comments that, you know, this energy has been really, really intense. And when you think of water, essentially, water is emotions, and our emotions are constantly in motion and constantly ebbing and flowing and coming and going. And particularly, I'm all tied up here, particularly with this full moon, Scorpio rules our goods, okay? And it rules the power in our gonads, and it's like our sacral chakra, our place of, you know, creativity, and some really interesting practices that you can incorporate after this practice and over the course of the next couple of days. You know, some people think that the full moon energy is only, you know, palpable on the actual full moon, but it really does, you know, still, you know, present itself a couple days prior and a couple days afterwards. So maybe taking like a nice soak, whether that be like a salt soak with, you know, Epsom salt, maybe some essential oils, and maybe putting on something a little sexy and getting a little sexy. And if you have a significant other, maybe sex. This is the area of the body that's really activated right now. And with our sexual energy, it's our primal nature, and it's our innate sense of being and expanding and creating, and also connection authentically within our emotions. So, you know, through this past couple days, personally myself, I've been feeling like there's this kind of like a need to allow other people to be open to their energy. So whether that be considered negative or positive, sometimes being all namaste all the time does not serve us. We have to honor what we're really feeling, and to kind of like control, alt, delete the negative emotions with what I like to call toxic positivity. It's like, okay, like this is what I'm feeling, and I have to be namaste, and I have to be spiritual, and I have to, you know, come back to the positive, which, yes, in some senses you should be a little bit more positive, but in other senses you should allow what's being brought up to the surface to be seen, to be felt, and to be heard. Scorpio is, you know, a sign that really embodies our shadow selves, and our shadow selves is our sense of being human, and it's our sense of holding an ego. And some people are like, ooh, the ego, but like you do need the ego to, you know, function in society. But it's a balance of finding, you know, a healthy relationship with the ego, just like it is as a balance to find a healthy relationship with other people, with our jobs, with what we do, with what we say, and how we carry ourselves. So there's a lot going on with this full moon, and I'm really excited that you're here to share, you know, this practice with me energetically and in spirit, because there is a lot that needs to be held. There's a lot that needs to be supported, you know, collectively as well as, you know, internally. We need to hold ourselves. We need to be able to support ourselves. More oftentimes than not, we kind of seek external relationships to pacify our emotions and to support us and to nourish us and to help us, but very rarely do we ever do the internal work that's needed to support ourselves. So this practice is one that is going to be a very passive but yet supportive practice, and it's one where you're not going to strain. It's one where you can't go deeper than what your body wants you to do. And I'm excited that you are here, and for those of you who don't know, this practice is going to be done on the wall. So if you have a space where you can do this, I used to do it on my bed, and I would just kind of toss my legs up the wall where my headboard was. That is how we're going to do practice. And if you're doing it on a glass, because some people have glass as walls, make sure that you're wearing socks, because the socks help you slide against the wall a lot smoother. So we are going to go ahead and get started. If you need to gather anything, you'll have just a couple moments to do so. I have my emotional support sweater here because it's a little chilly up here, surprisingly, but it's gorgeous. And oh, I thought it was the moon. Just kidding. I'm trying to keep my eye out to see if there's a moonrise over here, and I'm going to flip the camera around if that ends up happening before we dive into practice. And if you do want to donate, I greatly appreciate that. My Venmo as well as PayPal is in the link in my bio. Your support really does help me, and I really, really do appreciate your love. I appreciate you being here. So let's dive in. So being on the wall, you're going to butt up your hip, your right hip preferably, against the wall. And then we're gently going to kind of allow our legs to move up the wall. And this is essentially our first pose. See if you can allow your legs to be just slightly bent in the knees. You don't need to straighten them or force them to be straight, but just allow them to kind of go up against the wall and just allow the blood to drain from the legs. Maybe roll out the ankles, wiggle the toes, maybe even bend and straighten the legs a few times if you've been sitting for a long period of time or standing. And then settle into a comfortable position with the legs up the wall. Maybe even just hips distance apart. You could bring the feet together to touch, but I feel like personally this is a little bit more strenuous. And then we're going to open our arms out towards the sides and bring our palms to face up. And you could bring your index finger and your thumb together to touch and allow the palms to just relax, the fingertips to relax towards the palms, and soften the eyes. Maybe open and close the jaw a few times and give yourself this space in the here and now to put everything else away. Soften the space between the eyebrows. Allow your ears to fall back towards your mat. And then gently bringing your awareness to your navel, noticing the rise and fall of your breath. And then gently allowing that breath to deepen within your body, and allowing that breath to leave the body in whatever fashion it desires. We oftentimes get fixated on what certain roles should look like, how certain people should act, and yet we isolate ourselves by thinking in this form and by allowing ourselves to be within this box of conformity and not allowing authenticity and uniqueness. You yourself in your own authenticity and your uniqueness. The freedom to feel. The freedom to feel the waves of the emotions that might be bubbling up within you during this Scorpio full moon. And taking a moment to just feel the feelings within your heart center that you're carrying right now. Noticing them, honoring them, and breathing into them. You see the dark shadows that lie within each and every single one of us. Carries an emotional tie. And oftentimes it's an emotional tie that we're not too proud to share. That we don't open up about. We're ashamed. We're sad. We're guilty. We're angry. And these aren't societal emotions that are okay to express. And yet as we look at these emotions and as we allow ourselves to honor these emotions that are constantly in motion, we begin to allow our bodies to speak to our souls. We allow those shadowy spaces that we tuck deep, deep down within our beings to no longer have the power that it had at one point just by honoring these emotions. Notice what you're feeling. If it's on the physical plane, maybe an injury or some tension or some tightness, bring your awareness to that area within the physical body and bring a few deep, full breaths into that area. Noticing it, supporting it, and allowing it to be heard. Seen, understood. And then gently allowing your awareness to rest into the heart center. Taking one full breath into the heart, noticing the heart lift up. And letting that breath go. What emotions are within your heart in this moment? What are you carrying? What shadows and what secrets are you holding? It's when we honor our shadow space and hold the hands of our shadow and walk with it, do we really truly begin to understand deeper layers of who we are. The layers in which we choose to perceive everything outside of us by beginning within ourselves. And then gently bringing your awareness to your thoughts. Noticing what you're thinking about right here and now. Taking a deeper breath into the mind space and allowing that exhale breath to leave the body. And as it leaves, bringing more space within your mind, within your heart, and within your body. So many things present themselves in various different ways because the universe gives and takes equally. Every breath that we take in is also a breath that we have to give out. It's the understanding that many things within this lifetime are borrowed. Our body is borrowed, our breath is borrowed, our time is borrowed. And that carries in and trickles into various different layers of what we are attached to as human beings, whether that be relationships, statuses, roles. And it's within this space we have the opportunity to lay them all down and to no longer have these expectations and attachments and ties to what we thought we wanted or what we think we want. But being able to step into the space where we are. The future isn't promised, the past has already happened, and it's within this moment that you make the ripple effects for what lies ahead. Begin to connect with something that you're looking to release, refresh, revisit, create. And within that intention, trust that just as your legs are being supported by the wall beneath your heels, that your life, your desires are all held within an open palm, cradled, held, supported. Taking one last deep, full body breath. Vocal exhale, let it go. And then gently beginning to wiggle the fingers and the toes, rolling out the ankles and the wrists. And then gently reaching the arms up overhead, pointing the toes, reaching the fingertips back behind you. Deep breath in, and as you exhale, just gently bring the knees into the chest, giving yourself a nice tight squeeze, maybe gently rocking from left to right, massaging the low back. And then taking a moment in center to find stillness. As we move into these next couple poses, honor your intention. Remember to remember what you intend to create, what you intend to release. And let it be. Let your body move in the way that it desires and in the way that it can today. Gently releasing the legs, bringing the legs up the wall once more. This time, bringing the left ankle to rest above the right knee. Flexing the left foot and bringing the right knee out towards the, bringing the left knee out towards the left. And then gently beginning to bend the right knee, feeling the stretch into the left outer hip. This is a pigeon variation. The more you flex the left toes and foot, the more sensation you're going to feel in that left outer hip. The more you draw the knee towards the wall, the more you're going to feel within the hips as well. So find a pose and find a happy medium within this stretch where you'll be able to remain here for a few breaths. Perhaps after a couple breaths, you'll be able to deepen the stretch just a little bit more. But being gentle with your body, catering to your body and what it's feeling, noticing what it's feeling, and not allowing your mind to force something that's not ready to be had. Once you find this comfortable stretch, just do your best to then soften the upper body, soften the arms out towards the sides, or perhaps even up overhead, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And surrendering to your breath. You know that you're pretty heady and think endlessly as you're in these soft, still poses. Maybe incorporating a counting breath, counting the length of the inhales and allowing the exhale to match the length of the inhale. The Yin Yoga practice is a practice that brings us from the external layers of our physical body into the internal layers of our soul and of our mind. Beginning to slow down, beginning to hear the voice of our hearts. Notice the thoughts within our mind. And still allowing ourselves to be. Many of us desire these relationships to get to know other people, and yet we fail to really truly know ourselves. The way we work, what bothers us and why, what we love and why. Being within these still, quiet spaces within your body, allow it to be an opportunity to inquire, to observe, or simply find space. With every breath in, creating the space of expansion with the inhale breath. And with every breath out, softening just a little bit more within the pose, melting into that space that the inhale breath created. Feel as though your body has created just a little bit more space to get deeper within the stretch. Now is the opportunity to get slightly deeper and maybe allow yourself to just gently, slowly, keeping the space, but just rocking the hips from left to right. Maybe seeing if there's a different sensation that you'd like to hold for a little while longer by just gently rocking the hips from left to right. Our hips carry a ton of emotion, a ton of bullshit and baggage that we don't like to deal with. And if you're tight there, you're a tight ass and you need to open this up. Remembering that Scorpio rules the gonads, rules the sexual organs. And we got to get all up in it to release it, to open ourselves up to be able to receive. Five more breaths wherever you are. After your fifth breath, just gently straighten out the right leg, bringing the heel to rest on the wall. Taking a breath here, just easing out of the stretch. And then gently extending the left leg up the wall, maybe again rolling out the ankles, wiggling the toes, pedaling out the legs, whatever feels good, but just move slow. One deep full breath in and exhale, let it out. This time bending the right leg, bringing the right ankle to rest on top of the left knee, and then slowly bending the left leg, finding that happy medium here. Remembering that each side is just slightly different, so honoring that and just being mindful of the intensity of the stretch that you first step into. Again, just beginning to bring your awareness to the sensations. Noticing if your breath has shortened up because the intensity is a little too much. Back off just a tiny bit. Or maybe not enough. Again, once you find this space in the middle between both extremes, finding your breath. You notice the mind is continuing to wander. Just bring your awareness to your navel. When we bring our awareness back to what the body is currently feeling or doing or experiencing, we're brought back to the now. We're brought back to what matters most and what is. And we're able to marinate in all of what this moment has to offer. When we think about the future or when we think about the past, we're not really marinating in all the little tiny details that the moment has to offer. Tiny little gifts. get carried away with. If you're able to deepen the stretch, go ahead and do so mindfully. And again, maybe rocking the hips from left to right as you're in this pose. Feeling the different intensities and areas of the body in which you feel these stretches just by tiny little variations within the pose. Taking your last 5 deep, intentional breaths, maybe following the breath as it enters the body, through the nose, to the back of the throat, into the lungs and the belly, and following that same breath out. After your 5th breath, extending the left leg back up the wall. And just taking a breath or two here, easing out of the pose. And then extending the right leg up the wall. And again, taking whatever movements your body is calling you to do and take. Bringing the legs back up the wall. And this time we're going to be getting into the inner thighs. So allowing the heels to kind of fall to the capacity that feels good. The inner groin area can be really sensitive and it can get really intense pretty quickly. So just make sure that you're finding a really happy medium within this pose. And then allowing gravity to kind of have its way with you. Again, noticing the sensations and where the sensations are, and breathing into that space. You can rest your right hand just at the navel and then the left hand on top of the right hand. Again, we're activating the various different lower chakras associated with the genital area and the inner thighs. So bringing healing to this area, honoring this area, and especially as women, this is our area of creativity. This is where we create life. This is where we get that gut feeling. This is where we build that fire that draws up into our power and our solar plexus chakra. Each chakra building on one another, nurturing the one that comes above it. And as beings, we start from our most primal instincts, which is to be alive, to create. The most simplest forms of germs and bacteria know how to grow, evolve, and reproduce. And building that energy to know that you are worth being here. You are worthy. This is your right to be here. Your right to be, your right to feel. All emotions are welcome. All emotions are indicators in the right direction of what we are feeling, what we're enduring, and what needs to be endured. Noticing how you stay within this pose, that the intensity just eases up. Noticing how when you observe and honor an emotion, it eases up. A form of release that comes with being and honoring what is and what's being felt, whether that's physical, emotional, or mental. Whatever comes, let it. Whatever goes, let it. Able to get just slightly deeper into the pose, go ahead and shift just a little bit deeper. Just allow your arms to rest wherever they feel most comfortable. Last 5 deep breaths. After your 5th breath, the easiest way to
to get out is to just gently begin to bend the knees and then slowly begin to bring the heels together to touch once more, or maybe just drawing the knees in towards the heart and giving yourself a tight squeeze. We're going to be coming into a pretty intense spinal twist. If you have any kind of lower back injuries, take this with a slow, gentle mindset so that you're not falling into this spinal twist to its maximum intensity. Maybe just gently opening up the arms and kind of just bringing the knees over towards the right slowly until you find something that feels comfortable on the low back. For those of you who are sticking with me, we're going to roll all the way over on our right side. We're going to keep our right arm extended out, so you should be on your right hip, on your right side, and on your right shoulder. And then we're going to open up the left arm out towards the left, bringing the soles of the feet to rest on the wall, and then either bringing the gaze up towards the sky or ceiling, or allowing the gaze to be brought over towards the left. The higher up the knees are towards the chest, the deeper the spinal twist is throughout the entire spine. Notice what the physical body begins to feel. Notice the thoughts. And the emotions. And then simultaneously breathing one deep breath into those three spaces. Bringing them all together to where we are right now, and exhale, melting into the stretch, melting into wringing out your life, wringing out your lifeline, which that is what your spine truly is. Last 5 breaths. The end of your 5th breath, gently coming back to center. Again, taking whatever organic movements your body would like to take. And then rolling over onto your left side, extending your left arm out towards the left, keeping the soles of the feet on the wall, and reaching the right arm out towards your right. And again, bringing the gaze to bring it up towards the ceiling or over towards the right shoulder. Finding a comfortable space and then settling into that space and settling back into your breath. these last 5 breaths here. Allowing these last 5 breaths to just wash over you, cleansing you, soothing you, preparing you for your last final moments within this practice. In this Yin practice, we are going to fully roll over onto our left side in fetal pose on our left side. Maybe making a tiny little pillow by stacking the hands on top of one another, or maybe extending the left arm out up in front of you and resting your head on the upper part of the left arm and curling inwards. Our left side is our yin side. It's connected to a more calmer state of being. It's also considered our shadowy side, connected to the moon and its energy, and connected to the space of calm and peace. It's passive, it's patient, it's present. As you were a baby inside of your mother's creative womb, you grew. You grew a heart, a pair of lungs, arms, legs, eyes. And you didn't think about how you would grow, and you didn't think about how you would do it. You just did. As we step into the creative and emotional energy of the Scorpio Full Moon, allow yourself to be within the grow of things. Growing can mean releasing and letting go of various different layers of who we once were, of what we once thought we wanted. And it's okay. It doesn't matter what you look like to other people by changing your mind or changing your focus. It doesn't matter what others say or do. What matters is that you're stepping into your growth, your expansion. And sometimes growth means staying where you are and rooting down, grounding, finding your support systems, finding your own internal strength, your own internal wisdom. Slowly pressing the right palm into the ground, and imagine the intention that you placed in the beginning of practice being planted into Mother Earth, planted into Mother Gaia, and her fertile, fertile soil, and gently coming up into a comfortable seat. Taking a few moments here, allowing the dominant hand to rest on top of the indominant hand with the thumb pads touching. Taking a moment to just feel
Where you are is exactly where you are intended to be right now. It sounds super cliche, but it's so true. You've done absolutely everything that you needed to do in order for your personal growth. No mistakes, just lessons. Lessons feeding and nourishing your growth and your evolution. Gently reaching both arms up overhead, taking a full breath in, grabbing all that goodness. And as you exhale, gently bringing the palms to heart center, tucking the chin in towards the chest. Honoring yourself, honoring where you've been, where you are, and where you may go. Send with you peace and love. Satnam, one truth, and namaste. Thank you all so very much for being with me tonight. The new moon meditation and sound bath will be happening on May 23rd. If you're able to make that, I would absolutely be thrilled. Have an amazing rest of the evening and into the weekend. Thank you all so much. Besos. Namaste.